Well, another club who will rely on paying fans is Boreham Wood, and their chairman is Danny Hunter. Good morning to you, Danny.
Good morning, Andy. How are you?
I'm fine and dandy, pal. Listen, we heard the stories and the worries there of Stevenage, who are at least in the Football League. But for a National League club like Boreham Wood, this must be really difficult news.
Yeah, it's of course it's difficult. But look, it's not as if we're not all looking at the news. It's not as if we didn't know what was possibly coming. And I think in the end, whether we like it or not, we have to respect the government's decision. And like the Stevenage guy said, we're just going to have to come up with ways to stay afloat, to work our way through it. As you say, Stevenage and the EFL clubs, they get TV revenue, which we don't. So that's a slight softening of the blow to those guys. But for ourselves, what's even worse is our league are saying that with no crowds in the ground, they've made a unilateral decision that we won't start our league on October the 3rd, and that I can't get my head round.
Oh, so you would want the league to start in October then? You don't think that's a good idea then, not to start?
I think you have to start, Andy. I mean, when you've got a league board saying no crowds in the ground mean we shouldn't start, it's boards making decisions unilaterally without consultation with the clubs.
But Danny, if you can't have crowds in the stadium to watch the football, what's the point of playing the games? Because no one can watch it because it's not on telly, it's not on the radio. People aren't buying their bovril and their pie and stuff like that. You're sure you're going to be running at a loss if you just play the matches, aren't you?
Andy, you should go and get a job with my board. Because, of course, we can have the radio in. We've already been given the agreement that we can stream games at 3:00. What the board doesn't understand is all the players are all contracted. They've said we're elite sport. Whether we don't play or not, my players need to be paid. You have to look. How would you feel if we shut down for 6 months? And you're my caterer. Do I put her out of work? Do I put, the safety stewards and the COVID managers and all the other bits? There's an awful lot of people. You make a unilateral decision like that without thinking it through. Mm-hmm. And we put a lot of people on the dole, good people. And we've got to be smarter than that. I mean, you have to consult the club owners and the club chairman. Remember the board, they're there to serve the clubs. They take a wage. The administrators at the league take a wage out of football. People like me only put into football 22 years experience and not a phone call. And you have to look at things in a wider context. The government's not wrong for wanting to keep everybody safe. But at the end of the day, we've got to be smart here.
So
what do we want to do? Put the physios out of work? Do we want to put the analysts out of work?
So it's obviously you would want some financial support for non-league clubs. That's understandable. But where should that come from? The government or the Premier League? Where would you like that money to come from?
Well, I think there's two things. There's the government have been amazing with the furlough scheme. That goes on until the end of October, etc. But we can't constantly, as owners and chairmen, keep saying you've got to bail us out. You've got to do this. You've got to do the other. As I say, we all know there's chairmen who are going and saying, well, government have got to bail us out, or the Premier League have got to do that. And then they're going to sign in a striker for $2,500 a week at our level, and then thinking the world owes them a living. I'd suggest don't sign the $2,500 striker and work within your means. Anything that government can do or the Premier League can do should be seen as a bonus, and not as something which we require because we somehow feel needy. It is a tough time for everybody.
Could the fans do their bit? Could their fans do their bit to help? Because we were hearing there from the CEO of Stevenage, Alex there, who was saying that the fans could carry on buying their season tickets and maybe buying something from the club shop that would help. I mean, however small it can help. Can Boreham Wood fans do their bit for you?
Yeah, of course they can. But also these people, they've got kids going off to school. They've got the school uniforms to deal with. Boreham Wood is a working class area. I can't keep going with a cap in hand to these people. They've got their own problems, and at the end of the day, it's just got to the point where a league board I think, is there to serve its member clubs. For a league board to not consult with its member clubs and then to go to a manager's Zoom meeting to declare no crowds. If no crowds are in the ground, then we won't start our league on October the 3rd. I think is bizarre when, they haven't mentioned it before. With all the clubs at National League level have gone and put their squads together. Their whole ethos for months and months has been we're elite sport. And then you've got, don't they understand every single one of those players and my staff need to be paid? When you come into work today, Andy, I would imagine there's some remuneration for you on a daily basis working for Three Counties Radio. And again, we can have three counties in the stadiums to make sure people can hear the games. We're allowed to stream live at 3 p.m. For all match days, home or away. We have to start somewhere. The problems that we have for player salaries don't go away because the league suddenly say we're not starting the season.
Yeah.
The same wages have to be applied. They're asking clubs to pay players not to play.
But we haven't been able to talk to the league board for their perspective on this, but I suppose they're just trying to deal with the news like the rest of us. And of course, we've already lost Macclesfield. Presumably, if there is no financial support, more clubs will go under, which is really scary at the end of the day, Danny, isn't it?
It's hugely scary, but you would think, good luck if you're trying to get hold of the board, so am I. But remember, they made their declaration the day before Boris's declaration. They didn't do it to owners or chairmen. They did it at a scheduled managers meeting. And as I say, I don't know managers who pay the staff. I don't know managers who pay the players. I don't know managers who pay themselves. I've got a fantastic young manager. The pressures of my football club and how it pays itself, etc., he's got enough to worry about without the chief executive of our league and Jack Pearce from the FA emphasising no crowds in the ground, no football will be played. And that was it. Okay. That's a poor decision.
Okay, Danny, listen, we got to leave it there, but I really appreciate your time and best of luck with whatever happens for the season ahead for Boreham Wood. That was Boreham Wood's chairman there, Danny Hunter.